aircraft
Well,
service.
on a scale, the RAF have the jets, they have the maintenance people to service them, and they can afford to have so many out of action at any one time being serviced, which is normal.
And let's face it, if Ireland is attacked by a foreign power, that means the European Union is attacked. It's not just an Irish problem.
Yeah, but
it's the European Union.
But since
problem.
2016, that's not necessarily the RAF's problem.
We're not.
Well, can you say, hold on a minute? The UK might be on the way back.
Maybe, but we're not in the European defence. We're supposed to be. We keep saying we're neutral, and we're not in NATO.
I was reading that this fig leaf of neutrality.
Yeah,
which I think everybody who's looked into it agrees it is just a fig leaf. Was brought about as a result of, well, things that happened in the late 30s, and as a result of the Second World War, I think, to be perfectly frank, or the preamble to the Second World War. And neutrality didn't help any of the neutral countries on mainland Europe, and they suddenly realised that it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
if you look now, Sweden, which has been neutral and refused to join NATO or anything, have joined recently because they realise that to be part of a bigger organisation means that you get the benefits of other people's expertise and power as well as anything else.
But there's another problem, and it goes back to the Naval Service. They 3 years ago trained 10 technicians. They were very short technicians. They trained them for 3 years in the Marine College in Cork.
And then they bought themselves.
No, the actual industry around Cork paid to buy them out.
Yes.
Whole 10. They never went to sea. They never spent a day in the Navy. They have to start paying these people properly to keep them.
Well, they have
and proper pensions and they're way behind. And until they get there's no good. The Tánaiste is saying we'll have 12 warships if we've no crews. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They need to get serious. And
I mean, the thing is that they go on about we need to know what's going on, and we'll have these jets and they'll be able to go around and look. The question is, what happens then? All right, there is a Russian warship within 2 miles of one of the transatlantic cables. What are Ireland supposed to do then?
Well, the jets aren't going to be much use.
Not
because,
precisely.
number one,
you're not going to drop bombs on them.
You're not going to drop bombs. You're not going to be able to stay in the sky very long without getting refueled. Whereas a reconnaissance aircraft can spend hours and hours and hours flying, watching, and reporting.
Yes.
Yeah. So do we have to get a fleet of tankers to refuel these jets to keep them going, watching these? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
If you look at what's happening in the Ukraine, Russia war, most of that reconnaissance seems to be being done by drones, and those drones can stay up for days.
Yeah.
And possibly that would be a way forward to look at technology as it is, not as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's and to get the maximum use out of your equipment. They say the reconnaissance aircraft can be used for search and rescue, can be used for medivacs or stuff. But we're not going to take on anybody. Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. They're all well equipped with fighter jets, and there's certainly no lack of fighter jets in Europe. Whatever else. And that's not even mentioned in Britain, which are there as well.
Well, I was reading that there was contingency plans during the Second World War for the RAF if there was a threat of invasion of Ireland by Germany, that there were 3 or 4 squadrons of Spitfires which were designated places or friendly places to land all around Ireland. You know, they'd been scouted out, and it was between the Irish and British governments that, you know, there would be one squadron based in Dublin, one in Cork, there's one somewhere in the Midlands, and they were all ready to go if there was.
Oh yeah, there was
There was a serious threat that Germany was coming, and
there was plans for the British Army to come across the border as well, and
there was plans for taking over the ports as well.
Yeah.
But that was then. This is now.
that's true. Anyway, we'll break off from our normal conversations because we are expecting a couple of guests any minute now, and if we can just take a little bit of music, and we'll shuffle around and get things sorted out, and we'll be back to you in a minute.
I guess Fancher over Ask Radio Popularis. That was a lovely bit of music. James, what was it?
That was Tradlib with their rendition of The Mason's Apron.
All right, keep the music on the boil there, so we'll come back to you later on. But now we had 2 lovely lassies that walked into us here now, and they seem to be very, very anxious to talk.
I'm not sure that they're so anxious to talk, but yes.
Before we start, we just wish them Happy Women's Day.
Oh,
International
thank you.
Women's Day, yes.
I didn't know that.
Not just Women's Day, International Women's Day.
International
Yeah?
Day, yes, okay.
And what did you do for International Women's Day?
We took out the ashes and made the fire.
So we have Anne McDonnell, who's founding member of Erris, and Bridget. Are you currently the chairperson?
I am the newly elected chairperson, Bridget Brown. Yeah,
Yes. Well,
newly elected.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So, if you can sort of, I suppose, explain more about Cara Erris and
Mhm.
its history and what you're currently doing.
Well,
We have mentioned that you're doing coffee mornings at the moment, but
uh-huh.
How did the coffee mornings go? You had one last week.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
What was it this week?
It was on Friday. It was went really, really well. We had a great turnout, and there was lots of we would have fed 20 times more really with the amount of buns and cakes and biscuits and all donated.
Also, there were
and,
refreshments available as
there
well.
were, yes, so it went really well, and that's the first one we've had for a long, long while, and that's really the what we're thinking of reinstating the coffee mornings once a month.
COVID knocked you back a bit, like everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I think COVID had an effect, but as you say, Ted, like it did with everyone.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we're going to get back to that again and get our, the members. I call them the members. Then, let them know that it's on and it's a place to meet again for everybody, like they used to, and have a chat and whatever.
Yeah. But before we go on any further, Bridget, you got involved, and you were a founding member of the Cara Erris.
Yes, as I would say, a bird never flew on one wing, so I wasn't going to be worrying about it or thinking about it. So as time went on, other women, it was mostly breast cancer we're going to talk about now, but as time went on, I would meet other women on the street, in the supermarket, and we'd chat and we'd talk. And we thought it would be nice to set up a group where we could sit around and chat and talk. So the first thing we did, that was Kathleen Padden, Mary O'Connor, Nora May and myself. We went round to the different areas and we would meet in what was available at the time would be a pub. So the places in the pub were getting a bit small because the group was getting bigger and bigger. And we thought it would be a good idea if we got a premises and set ourselves up there. So we did get a premises and we moved in, and we were all excited, of course, getting it all ready for. Though it was still a very, very sociable organisation, because people came into the house and really we could be heard out in the street laughing. Everybody had fun there, and people had stories to tell and whatever. And then there was another room, like if somebody came in that they wanted to talk, they might ring in advance and say they'd like to talk to somebody. So we could go to that room and they would talk there and go out feeling a lot better, thinking it's not as bad as I thought it was, because everybody who goes through it, they're taken up with hospital appointments, and the doctors there, the nurses are there, and then suddenly all this finishes and they're home on their own, and they might have a pain somewhere, and the first thing you think of course, is it's somewhere else. Or, even the psychological side of it can be very traumatic as well. So people who had gone through the treatment and the surgery found great comfort in the house by coming in, talking to others who had been through it and through the same psychological and painful feelings. So it was great in that sense. So
The cancer now in the initial days, cancer years ago was a death sentence.
it was,
Yeah,
and it was so frightening. And the first thing you think of is, I'm going to die. And people will say to you, look at so and so, they all survived. That doesn't make any difference to you at the time. I might be the one